Good morning, children. We are going to do English literature, and as you know, I don't know whether you've read the chapter, Dear Mrs Naidu. It is on page 22, and I told you also to write the date when we started this chapter. I think it was on the 15th. Now today we are going to do the continuation, and we are going to do page 23. Have you understood? Page 23. So please open your readers to page 23. Now it is about some girl who is writing a letter. I mean, she doesn't even know who she's writing a letter to, but she's writing something to do with school. It seems school has opened, the new term has opened, and she has a teacher called Annie Miss. And of course, Annie Miss says that school, like that day I talked to you, that your brains are here and your heart is here. And then that you should not be a parrot, just repeat whatever the teacher says. You have to think also. Have you understood? So to continue with page 23, we are now in page 23. When she said that, I wanted to ask how our hearts will help us pass our exams and college and get a job and buy a house with a proper roof and maybe even a garden, which are all the reasons why I go to school. But I didn't. Now, like Annie Miss told her that when you study or learn, you must think with your heart. And so she wanted to, now she's writing this all in the letter. It is not that she's asking Miss Annie, but she's writing in the letter, and then she's saying she wanted to ask Miss Annie as to how the heart would help them to pass their exams. And like that is what actually, you know, what is our thing is that in school you have to pass your exams, means after like class 6, 7, 8, 9, then 10 your boards, then 12 when you leave school and go to a college to, and so how will that happen? Like, you know, they say like, how will all this help you to pass your exams? How will it, because you know what we do in the end of the, what is that we have to pass our exams, and we have to also do, like, you know, do what you call that, like, why do you pass the exam? Because many of you have to earn a living, you have to make money, like you have to do something worthwhile in life. Now you cannot just sit at home and do nothing. Some of you, like, I am a teacher, I love teaching, so that way, that is because I passed an exam, I got a job and all that. But then she wanted to ask all these questions, but she didn't. She said, what is the use? I don't want to, you know. You know how adults are, Mrs. Naidu. They don't like questions, which is true. You know, we say, we keep on telling the children, ask questions, but when they ask us like questions, I'm not talking about the questions related to studies, but questions, useless type, they ask us saying, of course we should answer their questions, like at home, you ask your parents all different questions and all, but the thing is with your parents, sometimes they'll say, hey, don't bother me, don't talk to me, don't ask me questions like that. And she says, you know how adults are, grown-up people are, they don't like questions. Even though it was only the first week of school, now the school had just opened and it was the first week, Miss gave us an assignment. Miss says that now we are in 6th standard, it is time. Now you know when you are in the smaller classes and all, studies not so very serious, you know, you just can. But when you keep going to higher classes, then your studies become more difficult. You have to become more serious, because in the lower classes, maybe you'll just have a few subjects. You won't have so many subjects. but in the lower classes you have just a few subjects like maybe English, maths and Hindi or something like that. But as you go higher, you have, chemistry, bio, physics, all these. So it becomes, it says that we are in sixth time asked to be serious. Like in class 5, you do just plain science. But in class 6, you do chemistry, bio, physics, all that. Every teacher says this, everybody says, if you come to class 4, they'll say, hey, this is a very difficult class, huh? Now you were in class 3, but you better do, better study hard, better concentrate on your studies. Like then you come to class 5, the teacher will say the same thing. You come to class 6, so every year the teacher tells you that this is a difficult class. The assignment, now what the assignment was, what was it? The assignment given by the teacher was to write letters to someone. Now that was the assignment, was to write letter. We would like to know better, like you don't know somebody. So the assignment was you write a letter and you find out about the person. She said she would pick, and I'm like, she didn't say, she just gave us the assignment and she said you could pick anybody. I'm not giving you a certain person. You pick the person yourself and you do it. But you have to say why you chose that person to write the letter to. Have you understood? So that's what. And as you have probably concluded, as you have said, we have picked you. I have picked you. Now, Mrs. Naidu is the person that this girl is writing a letter to. This is the first time I have now said, like she writes said and she cancels. Like when you make a mistake, we tell you said. Now she wrote said, but she have cancelled it. So that line is a cancellation line. And this is the first time I have written the word concluded, means ended, concluded thing. It is an English word that means figured out based on clues and evidence. Based on clues and evidence. I learnt it by reading detective stories, even though our English miss says that they are useless rags. I think this, then again she cancels it, I conclude that this. Now she has chosen, now she said by clues is, when somebody loses something, something is stolen, or someone is murdered. This police people, if you have noticed, you must have seen some videos or on the TV, you'll see that as soon as some murder or some theft has taken place, these policemen, they go into the house looking for clues. Clues will tell you something that, that the murderer or the thief might have left something behind to give you an idea that who has done it. Have you understood? So same thing. And detective stories. Now what are detective stories? Like, I shouldn't be saying it, but on TV you have these detective stories of murder, crime, so many things like that. This, some very stupid serials like, what do you call? Savdhan India, or some crime stories, or some crime films that take place. Have you understood? So these are all there. And then of course the English teacher tells them that these stories are all rubbish, and I understand now she's talking to, now all through she's writing a letter. Remember that, children, that she is writing a letter and it is to some Mrs. Naidu. Now neither this girl has told us who this Mrs. Naidu is, or nor do we know that who is Mrs. Naidu. This was an assignment from the class teacher, and like a project that we give you, and it was to some, and she wrote a letter to some Mrs. Naidu. Of course, I suppose you will come to know who Mrs. Naidu is at the end of the lesson. But till now, it's a suspense. Like sometimes when you're watching some movie, you say, oh, who's this? Who's the murderer? Who's the thief? Who's the real hero? So, and then slowly towards the end, slowly the story starts, and then in the end you'll know. So here also, we don't know who Mrs. Naidu is. After all, you and I, she's not talking to you or I, she's talking to Mrs. Naidu and telling Mrs. Naidu that Mrs. Naidu and she have nothing much in common. They don't have anything in common, For one thing, I am alive and you are. Can you imagine what she says? Well, you're not. That means she's writing to a person who is not alive, who is dead. Have you understood? So she says, one thing that they don't have at all, which is not common at all, is that the girl writing the letter is alive, but Mrs. Naidu is not. So that is quite scary as to, why she's writing to a person who is not alive, who is dead. I wonder why, and I hope you're also wondering why. Now children, we are going to do till page 23. Have you understood? Now I don't know how many of you are watching the video, and we're making it a little shorter so that you don't get bored and you keep watching. Please children, do that, at least watch, and there are again, that's a few again who are sending me the answers. You have to watch the video, you have to listen to the story, and you have to read the story. Otherwise, you will not understand. Have you understood? So, I'll give you some. Now, I hope you found the meanings of the lesson, everything, because there are some that are not there. I'm not going to explain it to you. You have to send me the meanings also. There are very few. Now, next time I'm going to say the names of the children who are not sending their, or rather I'll tell the names of the children who are sending the lesson. So till here I'll do today 23 and find out the meanings. I will send you a few words so that you can make sentences. So we have Saturday and Sunday, we have Friday, we have a lot of time. So please do your studies. Have you understood? Good morning and please have a safe weekend. Thank you, children.